And we are back. Alrighty, let's check out the Hound Pits Pub. Go top to bottom. On Earth are you working on? That was so loud. Okay. Alright, so the main floor is the bar. We do this.
Is the man dangerous?
Yes, very much so, but no need to fear. He is here to work with our masters.
People say he killed the Empress.
Of course he didn't. People are foolish and believe whatever they're told.
Okay. If the Admiral trusts him, then so will I.
Oh, that was definitely not eavesdropping. Hello.
The Admiral served in the Navy under the Empress. But something happened with the Lord Regent that drove the Admiral out. If I understand it right.
Come back.
Admiral Havelock made it very clear that we aren't to carry lamps outside. Maybe you haven't seen much of it, but the city has changed a great deal after the Empress died. Since the Lord Regent took over, the city watch is best avoided. Most people try not to go outside at all. We can't leave the pub. I've nowhere to go anyway. My apartment was in the flooded district.
Please follow me to your quarters.
Oh, okay. Wait, you're not.
Attention, Dunwall citizens.
You're going the wrong
Be
way.
advised, the river crust infestation has spread
Are you really gonna
downriver
take me there?
as far as the river mouth and flooded district.
Are you sure?
Do not attempt to approach or destroy a
maybe
river
I'm going
crust.
there.
Any items recovered from doing so.
So Cecilia worked at the bar prior to the whole Loyalists conspiracy thing. This is Wallace. He's actually Pendleton's, like, manservant, I guess. Yeah. He's kind of annoying. And up we go, up we go. I love a drafty old attic.
This is your room. It was chosen to give you privacy. I understand you'll need your rest.
Thanks, bud. Do you have anything else to talk about? No? Okay. This is Corvo's room. This is Corvo's room. We're not gonna sleep just yet, though, because I do want to keep showing you stuff. So yeah, attic, drafty old attic.
Attention Dunwall citizens. Lady Emily Caldwin was abducted 6 months ago during her mother's terrible murder. Anyone with information leading to the location or return of the daughter of our beloved late Empress is required to speak to the City Watch at once.
It's interesting, that's a different announcer. Different announcer than the normal propaganda guy. I don't know why. Ooh. I'll take that. Oh, maybe
Oh
not.
my! You startled me.
Oh, hi.
Ah, you could only be Corvo. I suppose you're practicing for your, well, your job?
Yeah.
You're much younger than I expected.
Hi,
Do
Lydia.
make yourself at home. Terrible you got blamed for the death of the Empress. Rest her spirit. I'm sorry it's so dark. We can't risk being seen. It is a bit romantic, though, isn't it?
Lydia, you old flirt.
I used to be the hostess here. Oh, I could tell you stories about that, believe me. You can call on Cecilia for the more menial tasks. It's what she's suited for. I hope the bed's to your liking. Let me know if you have trouble sleeping.
Wow. Oops, that's not
Attention all citizens. Curfew extends from sundown to sunrise unless you are otherwise authorized. Violators will be subject to interrogation and detained when necessary. Remember, the boldest measures are the safest.
Excerpt from a book of sea shanties sung by sailors. What do we do with a drunken whaler? Always good. lot of these are just like novels, which I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on. Here's Havelock's room. He's got all of his funny medals up. Novel. I will take all your valuables, please. He's got a little journal that he keeps track of our progress on. So entry 1 says, it's been days since our men were dispatched to stash weapons for Corvo in the old sewer. They have not returned, so I can only hope that they succeeded in getting the packages delivered. Piero spent considerable time and resources making those things. If I could find a way to mass produce them, the Dunwall Navy would secure its place as the dominant force in the globe. But back to Corvo. Can he actually break out of Coldridge, and if so, will he make his way here? I personally give him odds of 1 in 5. So, he didn't have a lot of confidence in us, but we made it. Let's play his little audio diary podcast.
Log entry 1-4. It seems we've moved to a new phase. Martin's improvisations have borne fruit. The former bodyguard has been freed and is en route to the staging location. Pendleton's voting block and my military connections. All we've lacked is the ability to project lethal force in a controlled manner against a previously inaccessible... to the point, we need a man who can kill the bastards for us. Corvo is more than capable of that, I have no doubt. N-bomb. Is this off? Switch. Switch, where the hell is it?
Old man confused by technology. This is Pendleton's room. There he is.
Pleased to meet you, Master Corvo. I saw you at court in happier days, but you might not remember. I was once a close ally to the Lord Regent, Hiram Burroughs, back when he was just the spy master. He's one manipulative bastard, I can tell you that. There's something distinguished about you, Corvo. Was there nobility back in your family line? I wouldn't be surprised. Did you know I'm distant kin to the late Empress and her line? Not close enough, sadly. I'll never be Emperor. Most of the nobility went straight over to the Lord Regent's side after the Empress died. Easiest thing to do. But to me, a noble birth requires a sense of loyalty. This city has fallen into ruin since the plague struck. These poor weepers moaning and bleeding from the eyes. They say there's no cure for the plague once it advances that far. Terrible.
Yeah, I can see you're all broken up about it. Let me take your money and your fancy plate. Well, let's play your weird podcast.
My furnishings have been installed at last with no small amount of complaining by that antiquated boatman. The others have no idea what it's like to suffer as I have.
I'm sure.
Speaking of which... Wallace! Please breathe 2 bottles of Dunwall Red, never mind which, and fetch a clean glass. Well, I'll begin again tomorrow.
This guy was like, I will be part of your conspiracy, but I do need all my fancy furnishings. So. Alright, let's see. Let's actually go up. There's some cool stuff to see up. Hey, Lydia. So, our room's that way. We can go this way out the window. And we're now on top of Piero's workshop, which is kind of fun. Come all the way out here. There's a fish in the water. Hagfish, they're terrible. They'll bite you. So yeah, Dunwall. The tower, Coldridge Prison. Got this little tower of our own. The Fugue Feast. Excerpt from a book on the celebrations and holidays here in Dunwall. At the end of every year, after the last day of the month of songs, we begin the Fugue Feast. The new year has not started unless the time that flows is outside the calendar. A period of celebration and feasting begins, during which the people abandon the very practices that keep them whole and healthy over the year. Many leave their homes, euphoric with spirits or potent herbs. Some paint their faces or wear masks to conceal themselves as they pursue their passions without reservation. When the right cosmological signs are observed and it is time for the calendar to begin anew, the sitting High Overseer calls for the Hymn of Atonement, and the Fugue Feast ends. Families return to their homes, wives to their husbands, enemies put down their weapons, and fires are extinguished. No complaint is given for those who have wronged others, deviated from ancient codes, or discarded oaths. For this time, during the astrological alignment, does not exist, and it is not recorded. The following day starts the new year, marked on the first day of the month of Earth, as it has always been. So, for this very upright, religious, strict sort of scripture city, they actually have built in a sort of, as some of our friends put it, purge weekend that happens every year, which is very silly. Trials of Aptitude. Excerpt from a book on the esoteric practices of the Abbey. Once a child shows the proper inclination, he is marked. Overseers are assigned to study the subject surreptitiously in order to determine whether this inclination is supported by cosmological conditions and other signs ongoing throughout the year. So the Overseers, they work for the Abbey. They scout out potential kids who would be good marks to become Overseers as well, based on their, like, you know, let's see, how would I say it? I don't know, like, they have, like, their own sort of occult, justification for things. So they're like, you know, the stars, they point to this. But if other people have other religions that are sort of occult, they're like, no, those are bad. So they're very hypocritical. At the end of the cycle, those befitting further testing are removed from their homes some hours before dawn and must begin the march to an outpost outside the city. So they kidnap children, is what that's saying. There, the children undergo ritual preparation and evaluation until the last night of the month of rain, when they make a pilgrimage to Whitecliff. During an elaborate ceremony, it is determined which of the children will become overseers and which must be put down. So they scout out these kids, they run them through some tests at a certain point, and if they do great, then they become overseers, and if they fail, then they kill them. So that's fun. That's great. What a good society we have here. Yeah, this is the main block. Oh god. Oh, wow, that was quite far. I did not mean to fall that far. Alright. Over here, we have the fighting pits. These are, like, used to contain and transport hounds. These containers. Hound pits. Little fight that was going to go down at some point. And we can't get in here, but we can peek inside. So, got some tier matchups, I guess, for the fighting. There's the cage where it all happens in, and there's a chair in there as well. So. Yep. Yeah, it's all very climbable, which I love. This.
Attention, citizens of Dunwall. The Old Port District has been added to the evacuation list. The Weeper count for the month of siege has increased. The Lord Regent has decreed that plague ordinances will remain in effect through the month of rain. Stay alert and stay loyal.
Which is kind of cool. it's worth trawling around, talking to people in between missions, and picking up all the little items that are worth money. Some people skip all this, and I can't understand it.
I once served under Admiral Havelock. Captain Havelock then. I don't know if he remembers me, but I fear it's rude to ask. I don't want to embarrass him. I was just a common riverman, hauling parcels and such along the river. But I know how to keep my trap shut, I do. This is about as far downriver as I care to go. Toward the flooded district, the river's thick with corpses. I've seen battles in my younger years, and I see you've got the stuff. Say the word, and I'll back you. All
Hell
the
yeah.
little people in the city like me, we miss the Empress something terrible. And the fact that young Lady Emily is out there somewhere still lost, it's just too much for most folks to think about.
Too true. Anyway, this is where he sleeps. Mysteries of Pandysia. Is another continent. Dunwall's part of Bristol. Pandysia is another continent that I think is largely unpopulated. I'm not sure. The Academy of Natural Philosophy, they speak of the Pandysian continent as a place of wonder, where all life has intertwined and blossomed across eons, producing a vibrant ecology unrivaled in the civilized world. The overseers from the Abbey of the Everyman, by contrast, talk of horror and heresies, of cults of submen engaged in brutal, perverse rituals. Okay, so it is inhabited. It's just inhabited by people that the Abbey think are, you know, non-civilized or whatever, which is, of course, terrible. The few who have traveled to the far continent and come back to the Isles, those who have actually touched the soil there, have returned with notes that describe vast deserts, deep jungles, and outlandish creatures that defy belief. Once in a generation, a great effort is mounted to build a colony there, in hopes of this someday growing into a port city to rival Dunwall itself. But to date, these attempts have all ended in madness and a failure. So, we don't know what's going on in Pandysia. It seems wild there. It's probably not actually that wild. It's just, you know, people don't live there who write books, so we don't know. I think later on, someone talks about, like, some kind of flying beast or whatever in Pandysia. And to me, I think that's very clearly, like, dragons, you know? like over there it's a different kind of fantasy game, but who knows? Let's have a sleep. Somewhere else. It's raining out, that's nice. Okay, well, that was not blocked off before. Listen to that. It's a good game. Y'all, it's a good game. Something's not right. Yeah? You think? You think maybe something isn't quite right about this? This isn't how we left it. Surely. I love this place. Here we are. We're finally getting to the meat and potatoes of this amazing story.
Hello, Corvo. Your life has taken a turn, has it not? The Empress is dead. Her precious daughter Emily is lost somewhere in the city, and you will play a pivotal role in the days to come. For this, I have chosen you and drawn you into the void. I am the outsider, and this is my mark. There are forces in the world and beyond the world, great forces that men call magic. And now, these forces will serve your will. Use this newfound power, my gift to you. Come find me,
Amazing. Alright, so it's not just a game of climbing up and down things. The Outsider, which is, as the Abbey would say, the most heretical occult force out there, has claimed us for his own and decided to gift us with magic. So here we are in his void. And we're gonna come upon some scenes that we have seen before, that we might see one day, that we won't see. And the first power we get is Blink. Allows us to teleport. So here's a sad scene. Fallen letter. You cannot save her, you cannot save her, you cannot save her. It's sad. Kiro's spiritual remedy. Interesting. There's tea to drink and mana potion. So, we've got our health bar there in the upper left. As we use our powers, it drains the mana bar that we now have. And as long as you don't use your powers too close in succession, it will actually refill, which is pretty cool. If I were to blink and then blink again, like right afterwards, it would stay at that new lower threshold. So, yeah. Here's a scene. Here's a scene of Emily being kidnapped, I assume, by these ugly bastards. There's a little drawing she's done. Some of the fauna of Dunwall. And she's got a letter here. Emily's letter. Corvo, I'm very sad. They say that you're dead like Mother, but I'm going to put this note in a bottle and throw it into the river, because I do not believe them. Living here is very strange. I do not like it, so please come for me if you can. She's so sweet. So yeah, wherever this is apparently where she is. These people. There's a whale. Here is Lord Regent, as he is now, with a little war map of Dunwall. There's a whole map there. Interesting. Here's a scene. So, a scene frozen in time, some people getting away from this bullet. That is an arrow, I suppose. A bolt. I suppose it's a bolt. Shot from these figures, who we will learn about later. I love the aesthetic of the void, it's so good. There's some hagfish swimming around, that's good.
Days that follow, your trials will be great, Corvo. Seek the ancient runes bearing my mark in the lonely places of your world, and at shrines raised in my name. These runes will grant you powers beyond those of other men. To help you find these runes, I give you this, the heart of a living thing, molded by my hands. With this heart, you will hear many secrets, and it will guide you toward my runes, no matter how they may be hidden. Listen to the heart now, and find another room.
Let's listen.
This place is the end of all
Oh, alright, well hold on.
things, and the beginning. All of time is meaningless here. Neither seconds, nor centuries. Someday this place will devour all the lights in the sky. The one who walks here is all things. Cradle songs of comfort and bones gnawed by teeth. This is the place from which those who dabble in the black arts draw their power. And this place is their doom. I can feel a great age ending. This place is the end of all things, and the beginning.
So yeah, with the heart, you get these little markers that'll lead you towards things that can help you. I think we're not actually going to be using any runes. If any, because I think I want to go for the achievement where you don't end up using them, which is sort of a shame given that I'm trying to show you all the cool stuff in this game. I can probably redeem them, do some cool stuff, and then just reload. Let's just float. Let's see. Alright, this is what shrines look like. These funny little stands and beautiful blue cloth. Yay, runes. Okay. So we're not gonna spend it. Sorry.
How you use what I have given you falls upon you, as it has to the others before you. And now I return you to your world, but know that I will be watching with great interest.
Cool. Well, we've got an old god's mark on our body, and he is watching our every move. So, oh, now we're just surrounded by bone charms. Mystical fish artifact. Mystical rat artifact. Alright, I'm gonna end this here. When I come back, we're gonna do a lot of fun reading. And yeah. Have a good one.